right, let's go.
All right. Well, Scott, we're back in San Jose with a big fight, one of the biggest rematches in Bellator history. Talk to me about what you're expecting out of AJ and Pitbull. Take two.
Yeah, it feels good to be home, have a home game, not be on the road. But when you look around, this is really a special place, and we've had so many great fights here. And when I think about the history in this place for MMA or kickboxing, to be honest, before that, it's really, you just feel it in the air. So I'm expecting some big fireworks tomorrow night for both those title fights, and the winner of our tournament at 205 and the AJ fight with Pitbull. I'm expecting fireworks. I think it's going to be I think you'll see some epic fights that rival some of the fights we've had in the past.
Sometimes when a first fight ends so quickly, promotion's kind of hesitant to run it back. What was it about Pitbull that you wanted to give him this rematch? Was it just everything that he's done leading up to this point, solidifying himself as one of the best in the world?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was on quite a run for a long time. I think he deserved it. AJ thought he deserved it, and we kind of listened to our fans a little bit and where he was in the rankings. So to me, it's like it made a lot of sense. And rematches don't always work out one way or the other. I think it's going to be an interesting fight because the last one, like you said, was so quick. He got caught early, and it didn't work out for Pitbull. But tomorrow night, you never know.
In that first one, AJ's, I think, popularity really exploded that night just with how everything went down in kind of his backyard. So what do you think his star potential is in this sport?
Listen, I said from the time we signed him, I think when he was 18 years old, that this guy has that X factor, and I've always believed it. And, I think he's a marketable kid. I think he can fight. I think he's the best 145-pounder in the planet right now. When I think about things that he could do outside the cage, I think he could do a lot of good work on the screen. I think he could do some, the sky's the limit for him. This kid is young, and he's got a lot of talent. So, I think it's really up to him.
With having such a big star, I think there's a lot of attention and people start talking. And for AJ, I've noticed, he even kind of talks about his contract, how much he's getting paid, some stuff we don't necessarily hear from other athletes. Is that difficult at all for you to deal with?
Here's the thing, there's provisions in the contract that, have confidentiality that no fighter should be talking about the contract, or no promoter should be talking about the contract. I just think he's excited. He's a young guy. It's a big fight. This is a big moment for him. And it is what it is, but it's fine. I've been doing this fight business for 36 years now, right? There's nothing I haven't seen yet so far, so I got to knock on wood on that one. But yeah, it's fine.
He talks about how his goal is to be a two-weight world champion. Do you feel like that's something that you guys will entertain? Should it, should he do business on Friday?
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely a conversation that we've had with his dad, himself, our company inside our fight team, including myself, and that's something that let's see how he looks tomorrow night. So and then we'll reshuffle the deck and see what we come up with.
You have Aaron Pico also on the card. Adam Borix has also been performing very well. Of those two, do you have someone in mind who you feel is the next man up after Friday?
Yeah, you know what? I think that Pico definitely is somebody that we're looking out for tomorrow night, see how he performs. Borix is a super talented kid. Even Maz Burnell, wow, what a fight that was. I mean, that was an unbelievable matchup. So, we're gonna shuffle the deck and and see what fight we come out with. But tonight let's celebrate and these guys fighting, and tomorrow night we'll see what becomes of the matchups, and then we'll go the following Monday and start making fights.
To talk about the Grand Prix final, obviously you have somebody who has wins over two former UFC champions, taking on a surging champion yourself with Vadim Nemkov. Can you just talk a little bit about that fight and just where the winner would place themselves worldwide in the rankings of the 205-pound division?
Well, you know how I feel. I mean, that's when you go through a tournament like the tournament we put on, and Yaz, when he fought Corey Anderson, Yaz is no joke. This guy is dangerous, and he could hit hard, and he's somebody that I thought was winning that fight early on. And Corey, I think, dug deep and said, no, this is not going to finish like this. And he took care of business. But when you talk about the gauntlet of great athletes at 205, to me, I think the best fighter in the world will come out tomorrow night and be the champion. And that's just how I feel.
to talk a little bit more about shuffling the deck. What's up, AJ?
Kicking with Big Daddy Cokes, man.
Yes, man. You know, I'm working on that Snickers sponsorship, so don't you worry.
Snickers protein. That's what we need to shoot for.
Man.
We got to get it USDA approved and ambassador all the way.
There we go.
There
we go, man.
Bang bang.
But I just want to tell you that it's been such a fun time promoting. And this guy, when he won that fight, it was your last amateur fight, right? With your dad's promotion.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, this kid.
That was actually Paige's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rampage, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was just there to go say hello to Rampage because we were still having him fight, or we were thinking about having him fight, or something like that. But I said, this kid could be a star. And look what he's done in the last 3-4 years. It's been amazing. So
You've done great giving me the platform to showcase my skill, man. Working with my father side by side, you know. You guys are turning me into the young superstar that I am.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Continue, brother.
Yes, sir.
Good luck tomorrow night, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Bang bang.
Man, he's stealing my thunder. No. I'm joking.
To get back to my question, obviously, talking about 205 pound division. I mean, after Friday, I mean, you got guys like Carl Lebrechtsen, who's fought Vadim Nemkov. People talk about Musasi. If he wins his next one, could we see him finally move up? I mean, what's on Scott Coker's mind when he thinks about that light heavyweight division after Friday?
Yeah, listen, I think depending on who wins, right, I think he can roll it a lot of different ways. I think that you might see a couple of names. One I think of is like Phil Davis, who hasn't fought, I don't think he's fought Corey yet.
No.
So that's a fight that could be interesting. Carl's a fight that beat Nemkov, I think, before they got here. That's a fight that is quite interesting. And listen, I've been talking to Gegard, and he has a couple fights at 185 he wants to do. He said he'll go up to 205, but that might be a year or 8 months away. So I don't want to count on that. But he said he would move up at some point, and I think he would do quite well. I mean, Gegard's a beast too. So we have a lot of good fights ahead for these guys.
To talk a little bit about the future real quick, next week you have the flyweight champion Juliana Velasquez taking on Liz Carmouche. I mean, people talking about Juliana wins this one. I mean, she's really gotten to run the table now at Bellator. Just where do you see her ceiling, or possibly Liz, for a big upset?
Yeah, I mean, listen, she is a great champion, and there's a reason why she's run the gauntlet. And look, we are in the business of signing free agents. We're in the business of building athletes. Some of these take time, as you know, right? Look how long it took to build Pico and AJ and Charles Fortune and Cotton. I mean, it takes years for these young athletes, that are superstars in wrestling or MMA that are just, coming into being a professional. It takes time, and I think that's something we're really good at. I mentioned this before. I don't think there's anybody better than our company to search out to see who's going to be the next star, and then build them to the point where they can, get into the mix with all the top guys like AJ or like all the other guys we talked about. So to me, we're going to be in the free agent business. We're going to buy some free agents, from the top down. We're going to keep building from the bottom up, and we have some plans. So believe me, we're not going to be short of talent.
Fedor Emelianenko is here. Did you have some conversation about his future, his last fight in Bellator?
Yeah, I took Fedor to the Apple store this morning in Cupertino, where the Apple headquarters is. He was really amazed by that because he loves Apple. So, but on a serious note, we had a little bit of a conversation. I said, look, the world's different now, right? My goal is to get this done as soon as we can, because we had a fight July 9th in Red Square booked already. That would have been a phenomenal, in Red Square would have been phenomenal topping off of his career as an MMA fighter. But, that didn't work out. And so things have changed. I'm still trying to monitor. This thing changes on a weekly basis. Things we can do, things we can't do, sanctions this, sanctions that. So we're trying to figure out what the best course of action is, because honestly, when I look at Fedor, he deserves to have the largest platform and the biggest fight and biggest event to hold his final fight. And that's just how I feel. And if we have to wait a couple months to do it and figure it out, we're going to do that. So,
How do you think, will he fight till the end of this year?
my goal is to do that fight sooner, but as you know, things could change because it's a very fluid world right now.
Is there any chance he would close out his career not in Russia?
I think that's definitely going to happen. I mean, what I'm saying is he's not going to be fighting in Russia for his last fight because, it's just how do you plan? How do you set a date, and how do you feel good about the whole thing when things could change on a dime? You know, we have to go probably to a neutral. I've been thinking about this all day. Like, what neutral territory can we have this fight and give him his just due? And I don't want to do it someplace that's, you know, that's small and dinky. You know, I want to do something big for him. So we had an amazing show planned out in Red Square, and it was going to be spectacular. But you know, maybe I don't know. That's not going to happen.
Is he okay with it not being in Russia?
I think Fedor just wants to fight. If you looked at him now, he looks like he's in good shape. He looks like he's ready to fight today. You know, I said, Fedor, are you in shape? Like, you're fight ready? He said, yeah, I'm ready. I said, well, slow down. Slow down. We got to do this right. Pump the brakes. So.
Was pulling that fight more of a political decision or a logistical? Canceling that, yeah.
Well, you have to look at it from, let's say, Bellator's perspective and also our parent company's perspective. And, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty, you know. And when we decided to pull it, it was, you know, we didn't know what the next steps were going to be, you know, and how long the conflict is going to continue. And it's hard to, you know, it's when everybody's sanctioning and everybody's, you know, pulling out, it's hard to say, hey, we're going to stay here and do a fight. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. So we made that decision. And believe me, it was something I've been working on for a year and a half. And finally got to that point where, you know, the Kremlin said okay, and you could do it in Red Square, and we were on our way. But you know, it's going to be something that just, you know, maybe in the future.
Rumor has it Fedor's a big fan of Red Lobster. Any chance that you take him out for some cheesy biscuits? And if he declines, can I go with you?
Yes, absolutely. He loves Red Lobster. You have no idea. That's his favorite restaurant when he comes here. Anywhere we go in New York, he's like, hey, let's go to Red Lobster. I'm like, Jerry, can you take me to Red Lobster for me? But I'm sure we'll find someplace nice to have dinner tonight with Fedor. But I don't think it'll be Red Lobster tonight, but he is a fan. He's a big fan.
Was it his idea to go to the Apple Store too, or did you spring that on him as a surprise?
Let me tell you one thing about Fedor. Anytime he comes and he lands in the city that we're promoting, he's like, can you take me to the Apple Store? Okay. I mean, he loves that place. So he's an Apple fan, and he walked out with some goodies then for his family. But I don't want to get too much into it. But it's wild because we're at the Apple Store and people are like, oh my God, there's Fedor. Can we take a picture? Like he has fans all over the world.
Adley Edwards, of course, taking this one on such short notice against Aaron Pico. What do you make? Was there a scramble to keep Pico on the card? And how do you feel about Edwards? What kind of guy he is stepping in there with the number 4 rank?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Aaron Pico is no joke, and he's a dangerous fighter, dangerous hands. His wrestling is, superb and amazing. And when his opponent got hurt, we had two choices: either find somebody, a last-minute replacement, which in this sport, come on, you guys know this happens all the time. I mean, whether it's COVID or injuries or these, we have to be ready. So my guys felt like we had a good, suitable opponent, and I said, hey, if he feels good, he's in shape, he could come do it. And when I looked at him, he looks in pretty good shape. So I think it'll be a good scrap.
AJ McKee obviously has a serious affinity for automobiles. What do you make of his need for speed overall?
Boy, I tell you, it's good to be young, but just be careful, young man. Okay.
Any chance you let Aaron Pico ride one of his horses into the Bellator cage?
100% for sure. We'll go to Albuquerque, and then Aaron can come ride his horse into the cage one day.
Scott, you had just mentioned free agents. Cowboy Oliveira didn't re-sign with the UFC. Is that a name you think would fit here at Bellator?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I didn't even hear that he didn't re-sign. So, I'll go talk to my guys and see if they think it's a fit. But I will tell you this: anybody that's a free agent, that's a top 10, top 5 fighter contender, we are in the business of big time fights. So if you're a free agent, give us a call.
AJ had alluded to making this a family affair. What are your thoughts about him moving up and challenging for the 155-pound title?
Yeah, I know he wants to do it well, and I said, you know what, let's see what happens on Friday night, and then we'll decide from there.
Scott, you mentioned New York. Did you see Bellator returning to Madison Square Garden anytime soon?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Maybe that's somewhere where we think about Fedor's retirement fight, something big, something epic. So we definitely will keep that one in mind because he deserves to have something that's that big.
That's what I was alluding to. And of course, AJ is undefeated. He's the pound-for-pound king, but he seems to improve every time he goes back out there. Do you believe we'll see the best AJ McKee we've ever seen before?
You know what? I think we will see the best AJ, and I think we'll see the best Pitbull. Because I'm telling you, when Pitbull went home after the last loss, he is waking up thinking about this now. He's going to sleep thinking about this now. And he's making adjustments because their camp is, like one of the best camps in the world, right? All his trainers and everything. They're making adjustments because it's not going to be the type of fight you saw last time. So I think they're making adjustments, and let's see if the adjustments can work on AJ. And, it's going to be a scrap.
And another interesting fight on the main card, we got Lyndon Vassell taking on Timothy Johnson. They're two very different looking heavyweights. How do you see their styles matching up?
You know what? I was just talking about somebody about this. I said, you can never tell by the person's body if they can fight or not, because, first time I sat down with Daniel Cormier here in San Jose to sign him, he had 0 fights. I remember talking to Bob Cook saying, I think DC went to the restroom or something. I go, Bob, can he really fight? He doesn't look like a fighter, So don't underestimate that. Thanks, guys.